हाँ जी बच्चों, एक बार फिर तो तुहाडा स्वागत है मेरे YouTube चैनल बायोलॉजी विद डॉक्टर तरुण दे विच। ते जिस तरह की तुहानू पता है भी आपां बायोलॉजी का क्रैश कोर्स शुरू किया है उन्हां सारे स्टूडेंट्स लई जो नीट 2025 दे विच इस बार अपीयर हो रहे हैं। ते उस क्रैश कोर्स दे विच आपां सब तो पहला चैप्टर जिहड़ा डिस्कस कर रहे हैं वो हैगा ह्यूमन रिप्रोडक्शन। तां पिछले 2 दिनां दे विच आपां मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम, फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम, स्पर्मेटोजेनेसिस, oogenesis ते मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल जिहड़ा है इस चैप्टर का कंप्लीट किया है। ते अज पॉजिटिवली आपां इस चैप्टर को कंप्लीट कर देंगे जो भी पेंडिंग टॉपिक्स इहदे हैगे ने। तां मैं तुहानू कल जदों आपां जिथे लैक्चर खत्म किया सी आपां उत्थों ही कंटिन्यू करांगे, ठीक है। तुहानू याद होना भी मैं तुहानू कल जदों मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल डिस्कस किया है तां उदों मैं तुहानू मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल दे विच डिफरेंट फेजिस ने जिहड़े वो मैं तुहानू एक्सप्लेन करते सी, बट मैं तुहानू ये गल कही सी भी इहदा जिहड़ा हार्मोनल कंट्रोल है भी मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल दे विच हार्मोनल कंट्रोल नू आपां यानी कि अज डिस्कस करांगे तां वो बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। ते वो दे विचों क्वेश्चन हर बार नीट दे विच आना ही आना है। गैमेटोजेनेसिस चो भी हर बार क्वेश्चन आंदा ते नीट दे ते मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल दे विच भी हर बार क्वेश्चन आंदा। तां बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है ते है बहुत सिंपल बट समझना बड़ा जरूरी है। तो आपां उत्थों ही स्टार्ट करते हैं जिथे आपां कल खत्म की सी गल मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल, ठीक है जी। मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल दे विच आपां गल कीती सी भी 3 फेजेस ने ओदे, ठीक है। मेंस्ट्रुअल फेज, प्रोलिफरेटिव फेज ते ल्यूटियल फेज, सॉरी सेक्रेटरी फेज, ठीक है ना। बेसिकली 3 फेज ने। मेंस्ट्रुअल फेज की है जो मेंस्ट्रुएशन होंदी है, थोड़ा जिहा कोरिलेट कर दईए आपां। प्रोलिफरेटिव फेज की है मतलब एंडोमेट्रियम की लाइनिंग ब्रेक होंदी है ते ब्लड लॉस होंदा है, उस तो बाद एंडोमेट्रियम दोबारा बनती है, प्रोलिफरेशन होंदी है। ते सिक्रीटरी फेज मतलब इस फेज दे विच बहुत ज्यादा सिक्रीशंस ने ग्लैंड्स दियां वो इंक्रीज हो जांदियां ने। फॉलिकुलर फेज ते ल्यूटियल फेज क्यों कहने हैं, देखो ये गल समझने वाली है कि प्रोलिफरेशन इज ड्यू टू एंडोमेट्रियम की प्रोलिफरेशन हो रही है ते सिक्रीटरी क्योंकि इत्थे एंडोमेट्रियम की लाइनिंग दे विच ग्लैंडुलर लेयर है ते बहुत ज्यादा सिक्रीशंस होंदियां ने। प्रोलिफरेट फॉलिकुलर ते ल्यूटियल फेज क्यों कहने हैं, फॉलिकुलर फेज कहने हैं क्योंकि बेसिकली 2 तरह के इवेंट्स चल रहे हैं, एक ओवरी दे विच एक यूट्रस दे विच मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल दे ड्यूरिंग मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल। तां फॉलिकुलर फेज की है भी फॉलिकल्स डेवलप कर रही हैं ओवरी दे विच जदों साइकिल शुरू हुंदा है, लाइक खत्म होने तो बाद जो नैक्सट साइकिल शुरू हुंदा है तो फॉलिकल्स डेवलप करनियां स्टार्ट कर जांदियां ने। तो इस करके इहनूं आपां फॉलिकुलर फेज भी कहने हैं। तकरीबन 1 तो 14 दिन दा हुंदा भी प्राइमोर्डियल फॉलिकल्स होंदी है, प्राइमरी फॉलिकल, सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल, टर्शियरी फॉलिकल, मैच्योर ग्राफिन फॉलिकल, ये आपां डिस्कस कल कर चुके हैं। ते ल्यूटियल फेज क्यों कहने हैं, ल्यूटियल फेज इस करके कहने हैं क्योंकि इस पर्टिकुलर फेज दे विच जिहड़ा 14 दिनों तो बाद है इहदे विच कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम जिहड़ा है वो डोमिनेट करता है, इस करके आपां इहनूं कहने हैं ल्यूटियल फेज। तो यू मस्ट नो द डिफरेंस लाइक व्हाई दे आर नोन एज follicular phase and luteal phase and follicular phase, proliferative phase and luteal phase and secretory phase. So depending upon the events happening in the uterus, it is menstruation, proliferative phase and secretory phase, and on the basis of events happening in the ovary they are known as follicular phase first 14 days and the next 14 days luteal phase, right? So now ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਦੀ, right? ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਦੀ, yes. So you can see basically ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਪਾਰਟਿਕੂਲਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਨੂੰ। ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਸਮਝਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ। ਦੇਖੋ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਸਟਰੋਨ ਤੇ ਐਸਟ੍ਰੋਜਨ ਲੈਵਲਸ ਡਿਊਰਿੰਗ ਮੈਂਸਟਰੁਅਲ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਗੋਨੈਡੋਟ੍ਰੋਪਿਨਸ LH ਐਂਡ FSH, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਐਂਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਪਿट्यूटरी ਤੋਂ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ठीक है। तो हुंदा की है गोनैडोट्रोपिन्स, आपां नूं पता है भी पिट्यूटरी रिलीज करता है गोनैडोट्रोपिन्स, ठीक है। तो जिहड़े गोनैडोट्रोपिन्स ने वो की करते ने, ओके, गोनैडोट्रोपिन्स की करते ने पिट्यूटरी FSH ते LH लाइक रिलीज करता है, ठीक है। FSH ते LH रिलीज करता है ते उस तो बाद वो की करते हैं फॉलिकल दी डेवलपमेंट दे विच हेल्प करते हैं। LH and FSH they are secreted by the anterior pituitary and they help in the stimulate the follicular development in the ovary, right? ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਫੋਲੀਕਲਸ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਫੋਲੀਕਲਸ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਇਨ ਦਾ ਮੀਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਐਸਟ੍ਰੋਜਨ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यू कैन सी एस्ट्रोजन रिलीज हो रहा है इत्थे, ठीक है ना। तो दिस इन टर्न इंक्रीजेस एस्ट्रोजन सिक्रीशन फ्रॉम द फॉलिकल। तो समझण वाली गल की है भी एफएसएच जिहड़ा है, एफएसएच जिहड़ा है, पहला एफएसएच जिहड़ा है वो की करदा है, वो फॉलिकल्स दी डेवलपमेंट करदा है। फॉलिकल स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन, नाम भी इहदा फॉलिकल स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन है। इट starts the development of the follicles, which in turn starts the secretion of the estrogen, FSH estrogen, ठीक है। उस तो बाद की हुंदा है जिहड़ा LH है, LH इहदी secretion बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाती है, like on the 14th day, और you may say क्योंकि 14th day में ovulation होनी है, so you can see that LH surge, you can see this is the ovulation is happening here, and LH surge, you can see the LH surge is shown, right? So basically this is the LH surge, LH and FSH levels during the menstrual cycle। FSH the secretion भी like FSH the secretion maximum होती है on the 14th day, but LH the comparative घट होती है। तो LH surge का बड़ा ही important question, ovulation, which hormone induces ovulation? तो ਉਹਦਾ आंसर की है LH surge। 13th day LH surge ਹੁੰਦਾ है, बहुत ज्यादा ਉਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ secretion ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, and LH it stimulates the corpus, it stimulates the mature Graafian follicle to release the secondary oocyte, right? ਤਾਂ LH surge induces the ovulation, पहली गल। दूसरी गल you can see देखो, rapid secretion of LH surge induces the Graafian follicle to rupture and releases ovum, right? This is very very important। उस तो बाद की है भी LH surge हो गया तो इत्थे आ बन गई yellowish body, जिहड़ा mature Graafian follicle सी that is changed into corpus luteum, yellowish body corpus luteum ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ बन गया, ठीक है। हुण की है तुसीं देख सकते हो भी एस्ट्रोजन का लैवल बढ़ रहा है, ठीक है। कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम ने की करना है, कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम ने एस्ट्रोजन भी सिक्रीट करना है, प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन भी सिक्रीट करना है। मेन हार्मोन किहड़ा है जिहड़ा कि सिक्रीट करता है कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम, वो करता है प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन। तो तुसीं देख सकते हो भी एस्ट्रोजन की सिक्रीशन ये फॉलिकल्स ने सिक्रीट कीतियां सी, उस तो बाद भी एस्ट्रोजन सिक्रीट हो रहा है, बट प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन जिहड़ा है वो नहीं सिक्रीट हो रहा। वो कदों सिक्रीट हो रहा है? इत्थे जाके, क्योंकि कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम बनया है। कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम ने की करना है? प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन सिक्रीट करना है। कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम ने की करना है? प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन सिक्रीट करना है। तो बेसिकली आ जिहड़ा हार्मोन है इट इज सिक्रीटेड बाय द कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम, राइट। इसे करके आप कहने हैं कि ये ग्लैंडुलर सिक्रीटरी फेज है, ल्यूटियल फेज है, क्योंकि कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम डोमिनेट करता है। देखो क्योंकि ना यूट्रस दे विच की है, यूट्रस दी जिहड़ी एंडोमेट्रियम है वो होपफुल हुंदी है कि फर्टिलाइज्ड ओवम आएगा, तो जो फर्टिलाइज्ड ओवम आएगा तो उहदे लई एंडोमेट्रियम जिहड़ी है वो अपने आप को तैयार करती है। इट प्रिपेयर्ड इटसेल्फ सो दैट द फर्टिलाइज्ड ओवम कैन कम, और यू मे से ज़ाइगोट में कम एंड इट गेट्स अटैच्ड टू द यूट्राइन वॉल, ताकि इंप्लांटेशन हो सके। तो वो अपने आप को इंप्लांटेशन लई तैयार करती है, जिस तरह आप कल भी गल कीती सी। तो तुसीं देख सकते हो भी आ जिहड़ी है थिकनिंग ऑफ द एंडोमेट्रियम, एंडोमेट्रियम दी की हुंदी है? थिकनिंग हो रही है। यू कैन सी थिकनिंग ऑफ द एंडोमेट्रियम फॉर द प्रेपरेशन ऑफ इंप्लांटेशन। इंप्लांटेशन लिए अपने आप को तैयार करता है एंडोमेट्रियम, थिकनिंग हुंदी है, ठीक है। कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन रिलीज करता है जिहड़ा कि इहदी थिकनिंग दे विच इहनूं हेल्प करता है, ठीक है। एंड इफ जे तां fertilized ovum आ जाए, like it enters into the uterus, if the ovum is fertilized with the sperm and you know it comes downward, it comes into the uterus from the fallopian tube, वो किस तरह आंदा है वो भी आपां गल करांगे। तो उत्थे आके ये इम्प्लांट हो जाता है, तो फिर की है कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम परसिस्ट करेगा, प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन परसिस्ट करेगा, ठीक है ना। हार्मोन बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। बट इन केस इफ द फर्टिलाइज्ड ovum is not implanted in the uterus, then the next cycle begins, you can see। otherwise की होएगा? प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन की सिक्रीशन डाउन आ जाएगी। एस्ट्रोजन जिहड़ा कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम ने सिक्रीट कीता सी, इत्थे जिहड़ा है ਕਾਰਪਸ ਲਿਊਟੀਅਮ ਐਸਟ੍ਰੋਜਨ भी सिक्रीट करता है, प्रोजेस्टेरोन भी सिक्रीट करता है, वो भी डाउन आ जाएगा। तो उस तो बाद की है नया साइकिल स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, एंडोमीट्रियम ब्रेक हो जाएगी, शैड हो जाएगी, तो नवा साइकिल स्टार्ट हो जाएगा। तो ये बेसिकली जिहड़ा है समझण वाली गल है भी जदों हार्मोनल कंट्रोल दे विच these things happen। तो जे तुहानूं पूछ लिया जाए भी प्रेगनेंसी हार्मोन किहड़ा है, LH, FSH, एस्ट्रोजन, प्रोजेस्टेरोन, so you have to say the pregnancy hormone, the main pregnancy hormone is the none other than प्रोजेस्टेरोन, क्योंकि इन्हें ही प्रेगनेंसी नूं मेनटेन करना है, सस्टेन करना है, राइट। तो कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम सिक्रीट्स प्रोजेस्टेरोन, एस्ट्रोजन दो बारी रिलीज हो रहा है, यू कैन सी वन इज बाय द ग्रोइंग फॉलिकल्स, जिहड़ियां फॉलिकल्स ने वो इत्थे तां वो जिहड़ियां ग्रोइंग फॉलिकल्स ने एक बारी एस्ट्रोजन इत्थे रिलीज कर रही ने, एक बारी कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम कर रहा है, बट प्रोजेस्टेरोन इक्को बारी रिलीज हो रहा है इन द ल्यूटियल फेज, राइट। LH ਤੇ FSH इंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी स्टिमुलेट करदियां ने, लाइक सिक्रीट करदियां ने, बट जिहड़ी LH सर्ज है वो ओव्यूलेशन कॉज करदी है, उस तो बाद उन्हां दा लेवल की आ जांदा है, डाउन आ जांदा है, राइट। सो यू कैन सी इन दिस, ओके, ruptured graphene follicle transformed into corpus luteum, आप गल कर ली, it produces large amount of progesterone which is very very important, essential to maintain proliferate endometrium. Endometrium is necessary for implantation of fertilized egg and does not shed during pregnancy, right? If the the pregnancy has to be sustained, then endometrium should not be shed. If fertilization occurs, corpus luteum grows further and pregnancy continues, menstrual cycle stop. So this is another very important point. Absence of menstruation is an indicator of pregnancy. Absence of menstruation is an indicator of pregnancy. In the absence of fertilization, graphene follicle transformed into a yellowish body known as corpus albicans. Okay, corpus luteum, progesterone level decreases, corpus luteum degenerates to form the corpus albicans. Yellowish body तो जो corpus luteum है white body ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ convert हो ਜਾਂਦਾ है। Decrease in progesterone leads to menstruation। दा बड़ी ही important line है भी, एक ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਵੀ pregnancy hormone progesterone, menstruation को क्यों ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, menstruation ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ due to decrease in the level of the progesterone। ਤਾਂ ਜੇ progesterone ਦਾ level down आ जाए ਤਾਂ that leads to the menstruation, right? You can see cyclic menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase and extends between menarche and menopause। menarche की है first menstruation, menopause की है last menopause, last menstruation, like menstruation stop हो जाती है, right? So it is an indicator of normal reproductive phase। So this is all about the hormonal control of the menstrual cycle, which is very very important, and for NEET point of view हर बार इस टॉपिक चो क्वेश्चन आंदा ही आंदा है, राइट। देन बिफोर वेंट इनटू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट, लेट मी चेक। ओके, वी हैव डन, वी हैव डिस्कस दिस होल थिंग, राइट। आ देखो ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ स्लाइड डिस्कस ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਹੈ सेम चीज, FSH, ठीक है, LH सर्ज कॉजेज ओव्यूलेशन, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ याद रखने वालियां ने भी, LH सर्ज कॉजेज ओव्यूलेशन, P is the progesterone is the pregnancy hormone, estrogen is secreted twice, one by the follicles and another by the corpus luteum. Okay, so next we will move to the next part, that is the fertilization and implantation. Let me check from the NCERT as well whether I have covered everything or not. Okay, so it is done, right? So next very important topic in this chapter is fertilization and implantation, right? What is fertilization? ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ। fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization, and what is implantation, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, that development of the blastocyst and its attachment to the uterine wall is known as implantation, right? So during copulation, semen is released by the penis into the vagina, which is known as insemination. The motile sperms, they swim rapidly and pass through the cervix into the uterus and finally reach the junction of isthmus and ampulla of the fallopian tube. Fertilization, if the ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullary isthmic junction. Like fertilization ਲਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ important ਗੱਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਦੇਖੋ, fertilization ਕਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ? Fertilization is taking place between you can say the male gamete and the female gamete. ਤਾਂ male ਤੇ female gamete ਦਾ same time ਤੇ same ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਹੋਣਾ ਬੜਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਤਾਂ this is very very important. Male and female gametes should be at the same time at the same place. ਕਿੱਥੇ? ampulla of the fallopian tube ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ particular time ਤੇ same time ਤੇ male gamete hoye te female gamete hoye, then only fertilization can happen, otherwise it is not possible. Fusion of sperm and ovum is known as fertilization, right? Next, so you can see sperm contacts with the zona pellucida. Now this part is very very important क्योंकि basic क्योंकि ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਆ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਗੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਇਹ diagram ਇੱਥੇ mentioned ਹੈ. Ovum surrounded by sperm. Structure of ovum, I think I forgot because I discussed with you the structure of sperm, but I think I forgot yesterday to discuss the structure of ovum. So first we will discuss that. You can see this is the structure of ovum. You can see this is the cytoplasm. What is this? This is the plasma membrane. This is the plasma membrane of the oocyte. It is mentioned here ovum, but it is the secondary oocyte. Right, secondary oocyte is converted into the ovum once it comes in contact with the male gamete. Right, so this is the plasma membrane of the secondary oocyte, or you can see ovum. Then another layer is there. This is known as the zona pellucida. You are not able to see clearly, I will tell you. So this is the zona pellucida. This layer is the zona pellucida, right? And in between plasma membrane and zona pellucida, there is a space known as perivitelline space. Perivitelline space, and outside many cells are present. Cells of corona radiata. So cells of corona radiata are present on the outside. ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਦੇਖੋ, millions of sperms enter ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ sperms ਜਦੋਂ enter ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ uterus ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ sperms ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ capacitation. Here it is not mentioned. एक process होता है capacitation, right? Sperm दी की होती है capacitation, that they activate, they swim very rapidly so that they could reach the fallopian tube, right? And उते जाके they come in contact with the secondary oocyte if it is available. ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਦੇਖੋ sperm ਦਾ structure ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਾਂ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ acrosome ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ. एक्रोसोम की है मॉडिफाइड गोल्जी है, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ sperm license ਨੇ. ਕਿਹੜੇ sperm license ਨੇ? hyaluronidase, corona penetrating enzyme, and one more I think yeah, these two are the important enzymes, hyaluronidase and corona penetrating enzyme, and zona license, third one. Yes, 3 enzymes are there. I think it is mentioned here. You can see sperm contacts with the zona pellucida of the ovum and induces changes in the membrane. So पॉलीस्पर्मी की है एंट्री ऑफ मोर देन वन स्पर्म इनटू द सेकेंडरी oocyte. इनु कौन प्रिवेंट करता है? इट इज प्रिवेंटेड बाय द जोना पेल्यूसिडा. एंड मतलब कई तरह के रिएक्शन होंगे, आप डिटेल्स नहीं जाना. कॉर्टिकल रिएक्शन होता है, एक्रोसोमल रिएक्शन होता है. सो वी आर नॉट गोइंग इनटू द डिटेल ऑफ द फर्टिलाइजेशन फिजिकल एंड केमिकल इवेंट्स. वी विल टॉक ओनली whatever is necessary for from NEET point of view and whatever is mentioned in the NCERT. So ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ the zona pellucida, it prevents the polyspermy. It prevents the polyspermy. Changes in the membrane, right? When it comes in contact with the zona pellucida, like first it will secrete the hyaluronidase. Hyaluronic acid is present in between the corona cells of the corona radiata, and that is digested, and then it makes way, and then it secretes the corona penetrating enzyme, right? And then through corona radiata it enters in, it comes in contact with the zona pellucida, and then it secretes the zona license, and then it comes in contact with the plasma membrane of the secondary oocyte. And when it comes in contact with the secondary oocyte membrane, the second meiotic division is completed. The second meiotic division, which was arrested at metaphase stage, that is completed. जड़ी की आप कल डिस्कस की थी, like it gets arrested. When the sperm arrives, it is completed. So that is what happens. You can see acrosome of sperm secretes hyaluronidase, helps in penetration into the ovum cytoplasm through zona pellucida and plasma membrane. Meiotic division of the secondary oocyte after sperm enters the plasma membrane of the ovum. Second polar body बन जाती है, nucleus of ovum and sperm fuse हो जाते हैं, sex of the baby is decided. So this is how the, you can say, the fertilization happens. If you want to write, if you want me to write, then I may write hyaluronidase is one enzyme, right? Another is corona penetrating enzyme, corona penetrating enzyme, right? And third is zona license, zona license. So to break each and every, membrane, a particular enzyme is there in the acrosome, sperm license, and together they are known as sperm license, right? Next, you can see like the sperm comes in contact with the secondary oocyte, corona radiata is there, zona pellucida is there, first polar body is there, right? Oocyte in second meiotic division. What happens? The enlarged view is given here, so you can see sperm nucleus, right? Acrosome is there, acrosomal reaction happens, granulosa cells of the corona radiata, zona pellucida. So you can see this diagram is very clear. You can, this is the zona pellucida, this is the zona pellucida, these are the cells of the corona radiata, this is the perivitaline space, right? This is the oocyte plasma membrane, cortical granules. Another important point, another important you can say structure which prevents the polyspermy along with the zona pellucida is the cortical granules. The cortical granules are present inside the plasma membrane of the secondary oocyte, and these granules, they also prevent the polyspermy. So polyspermy is prevented through like acrosomal reaction, you can say cortical reaction or the zona pellucida, right? So the cortical reaction happens, and you can see acrosomal reaction is there, like I told you, cortical reaction is there. So this is how it enters the secondary oocyte, and meiotic division is completed. Second meiotic division, ovum is there, second polar body is there, but the polar body, they are non-functional, so they degenerate and the fertilization happens. Next, now then the fertilization, after the fertilization, implantation happens. Implantation, I think I told you guys in the beginning that from zygote is single cell structure, right? Zygote to ki banega, zygote undergoes cleavage to form the like multicellular embryo. ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਦੇਖੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ, you can see ovary, corpus luteum, mature follicle, ovulation happens, secondary oocyte, then the sperms, they reach, fertilization happens, right? After the fertilization, egg cell nucleus, sperm cell nucleus, then the zygote is formed. After zygote, two cell stage is there. Now very important point which you need to remember is that zona pellucida is intact along with the zygote. Zona pellucida is intact and it remains intact till the implantation happens. You can see जिन्नी देर तक implantation नहीं होंगी zona pellucida intact रहेगी. तो तुसी देख सकते हो आ जिहड़ी layer है बाहर, this is the zona pellucida, this is the zona pellucida, right? So this is the zona pellucida, right? So दो एक zygote तो दो सेल बने, दो तो चार बने, चार तो 8, 8 to 16 celled stage is known as morula. 8 to 16 celled stage, 8 to 16 celled stage is known as morula. उसके बाद blastocyst बने, you can see the blastocyst. Now the zona pellucida starts disintegrating, hatching of the zona pellucida happens, and you can see the implanted blastocyst. When the blastocyst is implanted inside the uterus, the zona pellucida is lost. The zona pellucida is not there in the implanted blastocyst. So this is how the implantation happens, and after fertilization it takes around 6 to 7 days, if I am not wrong. 6 to 7 days after fertilization the implantation happens, right? So 6 to 7 days after fertilization, 6 to 7 days after fertilization, the implantation happens. Fertilization, implantation happens. So this is very important point. Implantation happens, right? So like after the fertilization and to reach the uterus it takes 6 to 7 days, and then the important points which needs to remember: 8 to 16 cell stage is morula, 64 cell stage like I told you earlier as well. So blastocyst is 64 celled stage. Blastocyst is 64 celled stage, and zona pellucida remains intact unless and until it is implanted, right? uh, okay, so this is all about the implantation, fertilization and implantation. When the implantation happens, um, after that, what the sex determination is done. Like sex determination could be done, it is not done, but you can determine the sex if you want to, but it is not done. So how you can see sex of the baby is determined during fertilization and in the zygote. How? Kyunki is determined by the sex chromosomes present in the zygote, right? Human contain two sets of chromosome, autosomes and sex chromosome. Sex chromosomes in human female is XX and in male XY. So all the female gametes, they has 22 autosomes and one X chromosome, right? Sperms produced by male has 50% chances of 22 plus X and 50% has chance 22 plus Y. So you know this thing. So basically 44 plus XY, 44 plus XX parents. So it is the male, it is the father who decide, who is responsible for the sex of the child, not the mother, because mother only has X chromosome. It is the father who has the X and Y chromosome. So 50% probability that male child would be there, and 50% probability the female child would be there. So this is the sex determination is this is how you can determine the sex of the uh, fetus, right? Okay, now this, the cleavage is mentioned here, like we have talked about the implantation. So they have described zygote, 248 16 daughter cells, blastomeres. Embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres is known as morula, I have told you, right? Then the division continues, hollow ball is known as blastocyst, right? The hunda ki inner cell mass. What is inner cell mass? Let me tell you. Inner cell mass ki hai, this is the layer, this is the cellular, this is the outer layer, right? Few cells they form the outer layer, and this outer layer is known as trophoblast. This outer layer is known as trophoblast, and the rest of the cells, they are formed a mass of cells at one place. So this is the structure of the blastocyst, you can see. So this is known as the inner cell mass. This is the inner cell mass. This is the inner cell mass. The blastomeres and the blastocyst arranged into two layers. An outer layer is called the trophoblast, barley layer to trophoblast, and an inner cell mass is known as, like you can say, embryonic disc. So this is the cells, this is the mass of cells which is responsible for the development of the embryo or the formation of the fetus and later on the baby. So trophoblast cell attaches to the endometrium. The cells of the trophoblast, they attach itself to the endometrium. It helps in the implantation and the development of the placenta. Very important, because the fetus, whenever it is growing, then it is taking nourishment, oxygen, whatever it requires, it takes from the mother through placenta. Placenta is an intimate connection which is formed by the trophoblast through into the endometrium. So it is very important. Inner cell mass gives rise to differentiated into the embryo. The complete attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine endometrium is known as implantation, right? So this is the structure of the blastocyst. This is the blastocyst. This cavity is there. This is known as blastocyst. This is the 64-celled stage, which is known as the blastula or the blastocyst. This is how the cleavage happens. You can see they have again shown egg and sperm, fertilization, morula, formation of cavity, blastocyst, which I have just shown you, then embedding into the lining of the uterus. You can see this is the lining of the uterus, endometrial epithelium, right? This is the embryonic disc, inner cell mass. This is the inner cell mass, or also known as embryonic disc. The outer layer is the trophoblast. This is the blastocyst cavity. Whatever I have told you, right? Then pregnancy and embryonic development. So pregnancy, when, like I told you yesterday, a woman is considered pregnant when the implantation happens. It is not when the fertilization takes place. It is only when the implantation happens, the woman is considered it is pregnant. So उस तो बाद की होएगा, pregnancy होगी, conception होगी, implantation होगी, उस तो बाद की बनता है placenta बनता है, finger like projections बनदियां ने trophoblast ते, उन्हें कहते हैं chorionic villi. So chorionic villi, trophoblast की करता है, finger like projections बनाता है, which are embedded into the endometrial lining, and these are known as chorionic villi क्योंकि it increases the surface area and it can have nutrition or whatever requirement is taken from the mother. The villi is there, chorionic villi, finger-like projections, right? Villi surrounded by maternal blood, uterine tissues. Now this is very, very important. Placenta ki hai. What is placenta? Placenta is the, chorionic villi and uterine tissue. Chorionic villi and uterine tissue. They are interdigitated. They are interdigitated. They form a interdigitation, structural and functional unit between fetus and maternal body. So they are interdigitated with each other, they are attached with each other, and they form the structural and functional unit between developing fetus and the maternal, you can say, body or the mother. This connection is known as the placenta. Very, very important. Right? Inner cell mass to bhi banega ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, uske baad different organs like blastula banna. ठीक है ना, ब्लास्टूला बनया, ब्लास्टूला तो बाद की बनता है, it is not mentioned in our like you can say, ਆਪਾਂ कोई ज़्यादा डिटेल नहीं करनी, but थोड़ा जा let me tell you a little bit. So basic, so की हुंदा गैस्ट्रूला, गैस्ट्रूला की है formation of 3 germ layers, formation of 3 germ layers, formation of 3 germ layers, 3 germ layers बनदियां ने, ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੀ ਨਾਮ ਨੇ ਜਰਮ ਲੇਅਰਸ ਦੇ? ਐਕਟੋਡਰਮ, ਮੀਜ਼ੋਡਰਮ ਐਂਡ ਐਂਡੋਡਰਮ, ਐਂਡ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲੇਅਰਸ ਤੋਂ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਕੀ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ? the cells of these layers, they form tissues, and then the organs are formed, and then organ system, and then complete organism. The cells of the 3 germ layers, they are differentiated to form various tissues, organs and organ systems. The blastula to बाद gastula to बाद organogenesis हुंदी है. We need not to do that, right? So how it happens, because it is not mentioned, organogenesis, right? Formation of organs. हुन functions की ने, placenta बनता गया, placenta दे functions की ने, it is very, very important. पहला function की है, helps in the nutrition of the embryo and transport nutrients like amino acid, sugar, vitamins from maternal blood to the fetal blood. Very, very important. जो भी बच्चे नहीं लेना है, जो भी developing fetus नहीं लेना है, वो किथों लेना है? मदर तो लेना है ते ट्रांसपोर्ट कर द न्यूट्रिएंट्स व्हाटएवर रिक्वायर्ड, रेस्पिरेशन, exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide through diffusion from fetal blood to maternal blood and vice versa. fetus the oxygen the requirement पूरी करनी है ते carbon dioxide remove करनी है. excretion nitrogenous waste like urea and into the maternal blood. endocrine gland, very, very important. Placenta also acts as an endocrine gland. It secretes many hormones. केड़े केड़े? It secretes estrogen, it secretes progesterone, human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen. So it secretes estrogen, progesterone, HCG, HPL, human chorionic gonadotropin and human placental लैक्टोजन, ये 4 हार्मोन सिक्रीट करता है। हुण HCG का की काम है, थोड़ा जिहा मैं तुहानूं दस दिया। HCG ट्रोफोब्लास्ट भी सिक्रीट करता है। जदों आपां ट्रोफोब्लास्ट सिक्रीट करता है तो यह जिहड़ा प्लेसेंटा है, ये ट्रोफोब्लास्ट ते यूट्राइन वॉल जिहड़े मिलके बनाते हैं एंडोमीट्रियम। तो ट्रोफोब्लास्ट जदों कंसैप्शन हो जाती है, जदों कंसैप्शन हो जाती है, वैन अ वूमन इज प्रैगनेंट, then ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਯੂਰਿਨ ਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤਾਂ ਯੂਰਿਨ ਟੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ which indicates that a woman is pregnant। ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਜ਼ੋਨਾ ਪੈਲੂਸਿਡਾ ਡਿਸਅਪੀਅਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ट्रोफोब्लास्ट है वो सिक्रीट करता है HCG, ह्यूमन कोरियोनिक गोनाडोट्रोपिन हार्मोन, which is released into the blood as well as into the urine, and that if HCG is present in urine or in blood, it means the woman is pregnant. It means the implantation has happened, the trophoblast has secreted the HCG. So this is very, very important. Endocrine gland, placenta acts as an endocrine gland. It secretes estrogen, progesterone, HCG and HPL, right? Effective barrier, it acts as a barrier. So another very important point, placenta acts as a barrier. Maternal blood is not, is not able to pass through this barrier. Maternal blood is not, mixed with the fetal blood, right? So maternal blood faces the barrier. Placenta acts as a barrier between maternal blood and the fetal blood. तो ट्रांसफर किवें होएगा न्यूट्रिएंट्स? ट्रांसफर किवें होंदा? थ्रू umbilical cord. The placenta, helps in the transport of nutrients, gases, excretory waste through the umbilical cord, from the maternal blood to the through the umbilical cord to the fetus. So placenta acts as a barrier. The maternal blood does not cross that barrier, right? This is very, very important. You can see this, right? This is the embryo, growing embryo, placental villi, chorionic villi. This is the uterine wall, cavity of the uterus, umbilical cord with its vessel. So this is the umbilical cord which I was telling you. So whatever is, fetus is getting from the mother, it is getting through the umbilical cord. It is getting through the umbilical cord, right? You can see this. This is another diagram to show you the interdigitations. You can see the myometrium, the endometrium, the maternal portion of the placenta. This is the maternal portion of the placenta they have shown, right? Fetal portion of the placenta. So maternal portion, this is the maternal portion. You can see this is the maternal portion, right? This is the, you can say, umbilical arteries and veins. Umbilical cord contains umbilical arteries and veins. You can see these are the, umbilical cord, chorionic villi containing fetal capillaries. Chorionic villi containing fetal capillaries. Like this diagram is not mentioned in your NCERT, so you need not to do that, right? So this is the how the placenta works. Another important hormone which is secreted by the ovary during the later part of the pregnancy is the relaxin. Later phase of pregnancy, relaxin is secreted by the ovary, right? So which are the hormones which are only secreted during pregnancy? Very, very important point, very, very important question from your MCQs point of view. Name the hormones which are secreted only during pregnancy. They are HCG, HPL and relaxin. क्योंकि एस्ट्रोजन रिलीज होया, प्रोजेस्टेरोन रिलीज होया, बट वो प्रेगनेंसी तो पहला भी रिलीज होंगे नहीं, ठीक है ना? सो इट इज द HCG, HPL एंड रिलैक्सिन व्हिच आर सिक्रेटेड ओनली ड्यूरिंग प्रेगनेंसी. दूसरे कुछ और हार्मोन्स भी है ਜਿਹੜੇ कि ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਨਸੈਂਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਬੋਡੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਕਰੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਡਿਊਰਿੰਗ ਪ੍ਰੈਗਨੈਂਸੀ. ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ? other hormones like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine increases several fold in maternal blood. So during pregnancy, during later part of the pregnancy, the concentration of these hormones is increases several fold. Estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin and thyroxine. You need to remember that, right? Hormones supporting fetal growth, metabolic changes in mother and maintenance of pregnancy. Hormones, the hormones are very, very important part of the reproductive system. If the hormonal level is, you can say, is disbalance, if the imbalance happens in the hormonal level, then anything can happen as far as the pregnancy is concerned. So they support fetal growth, metabolic changes in mother, and maintenance of pregnancy. Right, after implantation, inner cell mass differentiates into outer ectoderm, right, inner endoderm, and middle mesoderm. Soon appears tissues and organs, I have told you. Right, inner cell mass contains potency. Okay, pregnancy will last for 9 months, divided into 3 trimesters. This is very, very important. Pregnancy, if we talk about the human, the pregnancy lasts for 9 months. It is divided into 3 trimesters. One trimester of 3 months, first, second, and third. Now, what we need to do? We need to understand what is happening in these trimesters. In NCERT, a specific paragraph is mentioned with regard to this particular point, that what happens during the 9 months, what happens during these trimesters. So that is also very, very important to understand. You have to remember this because direct questions are asked from this particular paragraph. First month ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ, embryo hard ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦਾ. First month ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, hard ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦਾ. You can hear the heartbeat of the child, heartbeat of the growing fetus with the help of stethoscope. Right, second month ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈ, limbs and digits are formed end of 12 weeks. Second month ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, end of 12 weeks they are formed. Just a second, let me check one thing. The first sign by listening to the heart. Second month, limbs and digits. Yeah, the limbs and digits are formed, and by the end of 12th week, like this third month, like first trimester, the completion, the major organ systems are developed. Limbs, external genital organs. First month, heart. Second month, limbs and digits, and third month, major organs and genital organs. First movement, the child, the movement होती है, it starts kicking. That happens in the 5th month, and hairs are present on the head. By the first movement and the hair on the head are observed during the 5th month. Very, very important point. End of 24 weeks, second trimester, body covered with fine hairs, eyelids separate, eyelashes formed. So you have to remember this. You may ask, in which month the body is covered with fine hairs, eyelids separate, eyelashes formed. So you have, the answer is end of 24 week, second trimester, at the end of second trimester. End of 9 months se ki hoega, fetus fully formed and ready for delivery. So at the end of 9 months, the fetus is fully formed and it is ready for delivery. Right? So this is all about, you can see, first month, second month, third month. You need not to remember this, but it is shown here. 4th, 5th, 6th, you can see, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Right? Last part of this chapter is parturition. What is parturition? I already told you in the first lecture that parturition is the delivery of the baby. So what happens during parturition? Parturition is the period of pregnancy in human beings is known as gestation period. I have already told you this. So it is known as gestation period, and it is of 9 months in human. The delivery of the fetus is called parturition, and it occurs by the contraction of the uterine myometrium. If you remember, uterus diyan 10 layers si, perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Myometrium the layer ki kardi hai? Myometrium the layer hegi hai muscular layer, which helps in the contraction of the uterus and helps in the expulsion of the baby to the outside. So contraction of the uterine myometrium. Signal कित्थों आंदा है? Signal कित्थों आंदा है? सब तो पहला जेड़ा signal आंदा है, वो आंदा है fully developed fetus. जो fetus पूरी तरह बन जाता है, it is formed and from the placenta. From first signal of parturition is originated from the fully formed fetus and from the placenta. It induces mild contractions. यूट्रस दी माइल्ड कंट्रैक्शन स्टार्ट करता है, इन्हों कहते हैं फीटल इजेक्शन रिफ्लेक्स। इट इज नोन एज फीटल इजेक्शन रिफ्लेक्स। फीटल इजेक्शन रिफ्लेक्स की करता है, it induces the it's it stimulates the you can say the maternal blood and stimulates the oxytocin secretion. Hormone adrenal gland secreted by the fetus diffuses to the maternal blood and it stimulates the oxytocin secretion. When the fetal ejection reflex happens, it basically triggers the release of oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. It triggers the release of the oxytocin secretion from the maternal pituitary. Oxytocin further increases the contraction of the myometrium. It increases, and then due to that contraction, more secretion of the oxytocin happens and more contraction happens, right? First की होया fetal ejection reflex मिलया, कित्थों मिलया? Fully formed fetus ते placenta तो उन्हें की कीता maternal pituitary ਨੂੰ stimulate कीता, oxytocin secrete होया, उस तो बाद uterus contract होना start होया, जिवें uterus contract होया और oxytocin secrete होया, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ contractions ਵੱਧ ਗਈਆਂ, ठीक है ना? ਤਾਂ this happens, stronger contraction, and this pushes the fetus to the outside. जिवें जिवें uterus contract कर रहा है, cervix की कर रहा है, dilate कर रहे हैं. Dilation of the cervix is also happening along with the contraction of the uterus, and the parturition happens. Relaxin. Now here the relaxin plays a role. ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ later part of the pregnancy, relaxin is secreted by the ovary. Relaxin ਕੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ? Dilation of the cervix. Cervix dilation ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ help ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ. So uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, inducing stronger contraction and pushes the fetus by dilated cervix, birth canal through relaxin. After delivery of the placenta is also expelled. जब delivery हो जाती है, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus, right? Last is the lactation. So this is all about the parturition. Parturition is you can say yes, this is all about parturition. Then the last part is the lactation. Lactation ki hai, the mammary glands of the female, it undergoes differentiation during pregnancy and they start producing milk at the end of the pregnancy. That process is known as lactation. The mammary glands, they undergo differentiation and produce milk at the end of pregnancy. Lactation at the end of pregnancy. And the initial milk which is produced during initial days of lactation is known as yellow colored colostrum. It is the yellow colored colostrum. It is very, very nutritious and it contains antibodies, several antibodies which provides immunity, passive immunity to the baby, and that is why it is often said breastfeeding during initial period of infant growth is recommended for bringing up a healthy baby. So yellowish colored fluid, it is known as the yellowish colored fluid or milk which is secreted. It is the colostrum. It contains nutrients and antibodies. Which antibody? They have not mentioned it. IgA antibody is given to the fetus. This is the passive immunity. When we will discuss the human health and disease, we will talk about the active immunity, passive immunity. So passive immunity is when the own immune system is not working. Like the baby is born, the immune system will take time to develop. So the passive immunity is given through the breastfeeding, through the milk. So that is why breastfeeding is recommended for bringing up for a healthy baby, because it contains a lot of antibodies and nutrients, right? IgA is the name of the antibody which is given passively to the baby. We have already discussed, but let me tell you once again, the milk formation is under the control of the prolactin and milk ejection is under the control of the oxytocin. If I am not wrong, we have already discussed that part in the embryonic when we discussed the mammary glands. Let me check once again. When we discussed the mammary glands, I think I discussed that. Yes, you can see this. The prolactin is responsible for formation of milk and oxytocin is responsible for the ejection of the milk. So that is all about the human reproduction. Okay, so this is the completion of our first chapter of this crash course specifically designed for the NEET 2025 aspirants. Please share your feedback. Like, I was slow, I was fast, or whatever. Like, please share your valuable feedback so that I could prepare myself accordingly and could give you the best what you want. So if you like this lecture, please share it with your friends, and if you also subscribe and share my channel with your friends so that maximum students can get benefit of this crash course. Tomorrow we will start the new chapter at the same time, at the same place. Please stay tuned. Thank you so much.